What's the Not Your Finest Hour podcast? What is that all? I mean, I've heard stories.
Not Our Finest Hour podcast. One I'll have to check out one of these days when I get a minute to listen to it. I've been told it's not for everyone. I don't know. It's just the general reviews I hear on it, but it has been getting really good reviews.
And I've never personally listened to it, but I have heard it's not for everyone.
I listened to the Not Our Finest Hour podcast. Just great podcast. I've really enjoyed that.
I'm not endorsing anything. From what I said, from what Caleb told me, he said don't endorse anything unless you listen to it first.
I do once in a while listen in, and it's a lot of fun. But I do got to be careful. It is not for everyone.
Caleb Allman is always dropping notes that it's one of the most value-added shows out there.
Of course, through all the Not Our Finest Hour, you guys poking fun at so much different stuff is absolutely killer.
I don't feel any oppression tonight. In fact, I feel very free. The Not Our Finest Hour podcast. Thanks for being here.
Welcome to the beginning of the podcast. I just want to address the fact there was no podcast last week and that I was here, not partying and ready to do it. And the other two people were completely bailed. They were busy partying with Mulder, who was distracting them from this podcast so that he could promote his own podcast and wipe our podcast out. So thanks, Andy. Really appreciate that. But I was ready. You two let the ship down.
We did. We were probably eating at Jack Fry's.
Oh yeah, we definitely were.
A podcast.
How Mike was on other people's fucking podcasts, but not on ours last week. Go, yep. Mike. Good work.
Thank you.
I say when I don't podcast, I don't fucking podcast at all. I don't go to some other podcast and start podcasting and not show up at my own podcast. I just don't fucking show up at all.
I made sure to plug the Not Our Finest Hour podcast early on too.
How was the trip?
It's good. I learned a lot about Chad.
Did you? Oh, I didn't learn much about myself.
I learned that Chad is a very good and cautious driver, but not so much on a zero turn.
Oh, baby. I am not. I don't have my lawnmower license. That's sure. I almost crashed that Yakta lawnmower. I had never
been
too
focused on root density.
Yeah, I'd never been on a zero turn mower before. So, I could get the thing to go, really? But I couldn't get it to stop. I was pulling back on the handles and it wasn't listening. And I tried to open the handles while I'm going, and it didn't work.
So don't you just like let go of them so they return to neutral?
Well, I did, but you didn't come back to neutral. Like I had to physically pull back on them to get them to stop, which I don't know if that's the way it's supposed to be. I think these mowers are Chinese.
The panic of everybody in that video is awesome. Yeah. It's so good.
Only you could have seen my face. I was the most panicked of them all.
What kind of mowers were they?
Yakta.
Love that name. Did they have some Ling Long tires?
They probably did. They're from, I think, Manitoba. Yeah.
They were from Manitoba and they're at HNA?
Yeah. I'm like, oh, we're not from around here. We're from Canada. It's like, oh, we're from Manitoba. Great.
So what was your highlight of your HNA experience, Chad?
I don't know. I don't know if I have a highlight. Well, obviously meeting Andy and Caleb and
not driving down and back with me for 9 hours.
My ride home spoiled it. My 16 hours straight driving home spoiled the whole driving experience for me. Not that I didn't have a great time with you, Mike. Just that was a lot of driving to get home.
Chad introduced me to the Dateline podcast.
Yeah.
Which, if you don't know, is a true crime podcast. It's just weird that the first episode that Chad puts on for me is two guys from Canada driving to the US to a trade show. One guy kills the other, tries to hide the body. It was really weird when Chad starts going, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you survived, Mike?
I survived. I got panicked there for a bit, but
everybody survived.
Was your highlight of the trip Mike, podcasting with other people instead of this one?
No, my highlight was getting a little bit of freedom back home with me here.
Nice. Did you get some freedom while you were in America, Chad?
I did. It was great. I love America. I could be a permanent resident if they'd let me.
I'm sure they
PK,
would.
you also got a hat. I need to send to you.
Perfect. I need some freedom right now.
I bet.
I'm all about freedom. What was the best food you guys ate?
I would go with the Mexican restaurant, Chad. What about you?
Mexican was good. It was like being right in Mexico.
It was
like-
so good.
It was, there were the Mexican people. It looked like Mexico in there. Like, I don't know. Jack fries was good. My steak was good. My snails were good.
You had snails?
Yep.
Where were the snails from? The
Probably
Mexican
Kentucky.
restaurant?
No, they were from this like pub that we went to and stuff. Like we were in line because we got there ahead of time. Wasn't open yet. And everything in Kentucky opens late or not at all, it seems.
Yeah.
Like you had to wait till 8 o'clock in the morning to get a coffee from some places. But we were 5:30, we were waiting for dinner place to open. People in front of us were from, where were they from, Mike? Toronto?
Oh yeah.
And
Toronto,
then they
Stratford.
lived in Kentucky.
Yep.
And they're from Stratford. And the people behind us were from Chicago. And the lady's like, "Oh, this is great. This place is awesome." And then she's like, "Get a place at the bar." And then they ran to the bar as soon as we got in there. And we followed them, but there were almost no seats left at the bar. So we ended up eating like super close to everybody. Like it was kind of awkward. I went back and I'm like, "Can I get a table?" She's like, "No, there's no tables left." Oh, great. So we didn't get a table to eat at. We had to eat at the bar. The food there was probably the best that I had. Definitely not the Popeyes on the way down.
No.
You didn't like the Popeyes?
No, it wasn't very good. I was afraid I was going to get sick from it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, there goes that sponsorship.
You were missed, PK. We
How many autographs did you guys sign from being on the Not Our Finest Hour podcast?
0.
0. I was surprised at how much I got noticed, though. I didn't think I did.
Chad was the star of the show.
Really?
Yeah,
Nice.
just walking around. Oh, it's Chad. It's the landscape daddy.
A couple times. I got another Tom Cruise endorsement while I was down there.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's the ticket right there.
Who was that? Who said that again?
Chris from Edge.
Oh. Okay.
Chris
yeah.
from Perma Edge sent me a sick shirt.
So we were supposed to open those on the podcast. I got mine. Chad, did you get yours?
I haven't checked my mail, like my house mail, in like a month.
Oh.
So
I got my shirt. It's sick.
So these shirts are from Colin from Western Interlock, but they were specifically made for us and for Chris from Perma Edge.
Mm.
So thank you, Colin. From
Thank you, Colin from Western Interlock. The shirt is amazing.
yeah. Oh, it's even got the Perma Edge logo. I didn't know that. So I'll just
It does.
share this here. There it is.
Wow.
Perma Edge. And it's got for our YouTube listeners, which won't listen to this till the new year, and being able to just see a blurry. There we go.
Edge restraint that's off the chain. I wonder where that comes from.
I don't know. It was when I read that, I was like, I love stuff on t-shirts from the internet that only a certain amount of people understand. I love that kind of that shirt is so sick.
The picture
Off
was
the
great
chain.
that he posted. Did you see it, PK?
No.
No? Oh, you should go to I think it's the Perma Edge Instagram page that he posted it. It's right in front of that dresser thing that has the demo with the chain. And he's just with his back to the camera. So you just see that and like the demo thing. It's great.
I saw you guys went to the chain demo.
Yeah.
You
We
tried
pulled on
it.
Yeah.
How was it?
Might
We
get
had
a
a
hold on it. So
we had a conspiracy that there's somebody underneath holding on to it because it's a dresser. There's a hollow space. There's probably somebody pulling in the other direction of the
Or the spikes are driven through wood
or that.
because it's a dresser,
Yeah.
not a patio.
yeah. Yeah.
I got tagged in. I got tagged in quite a few pictures with that dresser
Yeah.
uh, over the HNA. I was like, oh, quite a few people obviously either agree or are making fun of me. However, you want to, I guess, see that. But it looked like you guys had a great time.
Lots
Yeah.
of
I
people
would've-
asked where PK was.
Yeah.
What did you tell them? Oh, this picture's amazing. This is a great picture.
Oh, you saw it? Yeah.
Yeah, this is a great picture. Did you tell them that I just was too good for them, so I wasn't coming?
We gave various responses.
Everybody got a
I
different answer.
couldn't
Yeah.
get across the border.
You had malaria.
Ooh,
Poly Sand Company kept you
You were
away.
getting your toenails amputated.
there you go. Those are
Well,
good ones. Those
yeah.
are solid.
Yeah.
Solid. I was actually in Sault Ste. Marie with my daughter, who has decided to accept an offer from Algoma University. So
Wow.
Congratulations.
yeah, I'm really happy for her. She she met the goalkeeper coach. She went on a tour. She met law students. She some of the girls from the team came and took her out on Friday night so that she would feel like part of the team. It was,
Wow.
overall, she had a great experience. So
Good for her.
it's 13 years of hard work to get there. So
Nice.
I'm pretty I'm pretty happy for her. So although I would have liked to be in at HNA, I feel like I was doing a responsible parenting thing.
There's always next year.
Always
Yeah,
interesting.
Paisley's only gonna get recruited for universities once, so it's not like that won't happen next year.
Does she go to university next year?
Yep.
Oh, she does. Oh, okay.
Yeah, she starts next fall.
Wow.
So, yeah, she's taking law and justice. So that'll be good. That
Ooh, lawyer in the family. We need that for this
Oh,
podcast.
yeah. I think she wants to be a police officer. So
Oh.
I thought, never thought anyone. I never thought I'd have a family member on the other side of that, but there you go. Have a family member on the other side. Well, maybe we'll see if that's where she ends up. But she could also, you're right, Mike. She could also go to law school. It's like a pre-law thing. So
Where is the university?
Sault Ste. Marie.
Oh, okay.
It's really nice there, actually. I was really impressed with it. You can buy a house for like 175 grand. I
Wow.
told her I'm going to buy a house and move there so I can watch her games. And she freaked out. So I'm not doing that. Anyways, that's what I was up to last week.
Nice.
Well, I was not at HNA, and I also had malaria, and I also couldn't cross the border. And a poly sand company also paid to have me banned. These are all things that also happened to me, which, I would have liked to have been there. It looked like you guys had a lot of fun.
It was
Got to
good.
meet
Yeah.
a lot of people. Got to taste freedom.
The best part.
You got to taste freedom.
We did get. I got messages, Instagram messages. I even got a text message and a couple of emails saying, "Mike, you uploaded the wrong episode last week." So thank you to those. I either didn't respond or just respond with a winking emoji. The reason why was because we couldn't record last week. So, but thank you for reaching out to us.
That just
What
means
episode?
someone's still listening.
What episode did you upload?
I uploaded last year's HNA where only I went and we talked about it the whole episode.
Oh, nice. So, how much bigger is it than Congress, Chad?
I really didn't think it was that much bigger. Like just add another room and an outdoor section. But I don't think there was anybody there that you wanted to see that wasn't at Congress. Like I fancy trucks and equipment and shit, and pretty much everything I needed to see was there. So, other than the people, like Congress doesn't have our American friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should Congress open their doors and expand a little bit larger than Ontario to appeal to more American friends?
Do you think it would?
I don't think they ever would, no.
Well, I think that they're limited. Like, what are you going to do outside if it's a fucking snowstorm?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
building isn't like the majority of that building full.
Yeah.
Like it's not like that. The whole building's already full, and they can't really do much. I guess you could do stuff outside.
Snowplow demos?
Well, you really could do any kind of demo. You could do excavator demos. You could do skid steer demos. You could do a lot of different demos. It just could be minus 20.
I heard they're going to be doing demos inside this year.
Inside demo.
What of crazy, stupid electric equipment?
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
Can't get enough of that electric equipment. Love to get some more electric equipment.
Yeah. So overall, it was a good experience. I would go back.
You would go back, Chad.
I think we
Nice.
should go back, the three of us. So that
You
way,
feel like
explain where PK is every 10 minutes.
God.
We'll get a different Airbnb.
Oh my God. If I never have to step foot in that place again, I'll be a happy man.
That was brutal.
The Airbnb wasn't good.
It was freezing. I've never slept in such a cold place as I have the first night there. And I've
It was
spent
bad.
March in a tent in northern Ontario planting trees. And I wasn't as cold then as I was at this Airbnb in the night. I took the blanket from the bed beside me. I slept with a hoodie and a toque on. I was so cold. I just couldn't shake the cold.
Is there no heat in the house?
There
We had
was
it set
heat.
to 78 the first night. I was so cold. I was in my sweater, my pants, and everything. But I was at the top floor, and I thought at one point in the night, man, heat rises. So how cold is Chad?
Couldn't you guys just turn it up?
I thought Chad would have. He was right by the thermostat, but I guess not.
Whenever I finally did get out of my, I don't know, I broke free of the cold somehow and went wandering looking for this thermostat, and I jacked it up to like 80, and then I went back to bed. Still wasn't hot enough. In the morning, I turned it to like, it maxed it out 90 degrees. Like the thing is blinking red. Like it shouldn't be this hot in here. And I left that on. That night, Mike and I came home from wherever we were Wednesday night, and it was so hot upstairs. Like it was so hot upstairs the next night. It was like an oven.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna sleep here. And I took the bedroom beside him. But I was just in my underwear with the window open, and I was still roasting. I'm like, I have to go back down to the cold middle floor and try and sleep there. And it was better that night. But
How many
only because
floors
it
were
was
there?
roasting up top.
I was sweating. Yeah. I think I passed out just from heat exhaustion. That's how I slept.
Yeah, it was tough to get the climate right there. And Kentucky is no warmer than Cornwall. It was probably warmer in Cornwall last week than it was.
Hold on. I got to go stop the dogs from barking. You guys continue to talk.
So, Chad, you'd go back next year.
I'd go back. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. I would go back. I don't know if I'd drive the whole thing in 16 hours on the way home, but
You'd crash in Toronto, you think? Or
I don't know. It's just a long
yeah,
A long
16
haul.
hours is way too much, man.
16 hours is a lot. But made it home. Happy to be here. The guys didn't screw everything up last week. Came back to minimal issues
Other than a truck down, or
other than a truck, but I mean, that's par for the course. That would happen any week.
yeah.
Like we put in normal weeks and the truck goes down. So I don't blame them. Don't blame them there. Although they did spend one whole day hauling gravel in a little 5-ton truck, two of them. Like, boggles my mind how, and PK, you'll appreciate this, Um, the guys had a job to do last week, a couple of them, and they said, "Oh, the reason it took so long is because we're hauling gravel 3 tons at a time, and it's an hour and a half or 2 hour round trip." Like, what the fuck are you doing, hauling 3 yards at a time for a 2 hour round trip? Like, just call one of the other guys in the crew. Get someone to send you a bigger truck of gravel. Like, there's no reason you have to waste a full day, two guys hauling 3 tons at a time back and forth. Like, it
It's
just doesn't make any sense. Call me. I'm fucking 12 hours away. I will find a way to get you your gravel faster than you could at 2 hour round trips. It's that was the most frustrating thing that happened while I was away. Completely preventable. I thought they were better than that, but apparently we're not.
they just that was what was in front of them,
Yeah.
right?
I need them for the money they're making, I need them to think more than that.
Fair.
And at this point I can
Couldn't
tell
they have just called for a delivery? Like, let's say they
that's what I mean. Yeah.
say they weren't even going to use your trucks. Like, let's say they were like, oh, there's two tandems in the yard, but we won't use those. Maybe they're not licensed properly. Maybe they're scared. Whatever the reason
They're
is.
not licensed, they can't.
Okay, but
But
that doesn't mean they can't call the supply yard and say, send me a load of gravel, because no matter how much that costs, it's cheaper than
yeah,
moving it 3 yards at a time.
absolutely. Or call me or text me. I said I'm not close by, but I can still figure problems out for you guys. Like, I'm still the boss. I still need to be accessible.
Yeah.
Like, that's nobody
So
in the company
what
can
what
say,
was their reasoning for doing that?
"Oh, I didn't know. I didn't want to bug you." Well, it bugs me a lot more that it took a day to put in fucking 6 tons of gravel or 8 tons of gravel or whatever it was because you were spent all day in the truck. You probably wasted $400 in fuel.
How much did
Yeah.
you charge for that job?
I'm afraid to look now. No,
I don't know how much we charge for anything anymore. I
no,
just keep doing work. Trust in Jack and do work. I
yeah,
still,
that's good
Jack
philosophy.
says Jack says this is going to be okay. So I just has some he has some weird, like, because we can't get bonding, which is a whole different story. There's like a limit that one of the generals we work for has on, like, our projects, but we're doing like a bunch of projects for them. So there's like this fudging around of like, we're gonna do this, but you're gonna give a credit. And I don't. Jack started getting into me, and I'm like, I don't even understand, man. I don't care. I don't know what's going on here, but whatever. Just tell me what we need to do, and then we'll do it. And then you and Kelly can invoice it. I don't really fucking care. Like, can someone tell me when I don't have to work 7 days a week and we're out of the fucking hole we dug ourselves? Like, that's all I need to know. Just I will keep working and making money, and someone can say to me, okay, we're not in the hole anymore. You're good. Whenever that is. It,
We're not.
so this is a great text message that I just got. So my friend Biwar that owns Strongbase, or Biwar, or I call him Biwar, but I don't think that's actually the proper pronunciation. But he doesn't mind. He sends me a picture of a dozer, and it says, "Do you know this guy?" And it's like a Facebook ad. So I open it up, and it's some random guy who owns a dozer. I text him back, no. And then he texts me, "He's white and from your area, so I thought you would know him." Thanks, Biwar. I know every white person that lives in Oshawa. Like, what are you talking about? Oh. Anyways, so that was the biggest thing. If that's the worst thing that happened while you were away, I think that's a win, Chad.
Yeah, it was I can't complain really. The guys for the most part did a great job. We got a little bit of extras thrown at us while we were gone that the guys worked through. A couple of the others were at the wall, which that job runs itself, sort of. So we were all set up for success, I think.
So if the worst thing that happens is guys vaporize some fuel hauling 3 yards at a time, then that was a win.
Yeah. We had a truck breakdown and it sent me into shopping mode. That and the fact that I saw a beautiful Isuzu cab over truck at HNA, and I went and priced one, and then turned off by the price. So I went and priced a Western Star tandem hook lift. I was even more turned off by the price, but I'm still going to go look at it tomorrow. Um, I'm still in shopping mode, so I don't know. But
The cheapest truck is the truck you own.
you're right.
Well, that's not actually a quote from me. That is a quote from my dad when I was like 16 or 17. He said, the cheapest car is the car you already own. And he was right. Back then, I didn't think he was right. So I used to just keep changing cars all the time. But the truth is, he was right.
Is that the truth if the truck you own doesn't run?
No, it's trucks are a bit different because you're trying to make money with them than personal cars.
Yeah.
But I still think there is some validity even in that situation where you should do an investigation into what. See, the thing with you buying a hook lift truck is that your company's paying for the whole truck.
Correct. Yeah.
It's all coming direct out of your pocket.
Yes. Understood.
And it's working for you and basically only for you.
Correct.
Yeah. So like when I look at truck payments, like big truck payments, the truck doesn't actually, we've had 2 trucks working on our own jobs lately, but usually our trucks go out and work for other people, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not as, but when you're just talking about that stuff, that money's coming direct out of your company, and that's different.
I was thinking about how, and we've probably touched on this before, how no landscape company can afford a $350,000 hook lift truck, right? Self-sustained. But I'm no longer that little landscape company. We do more than just brick, right? Like our revenues are coming from a whole bunch of little sources, and our growth is there. We can facilitate the payments on this truck on our own. Whereas maybe 5 years ago it wasn't possible for us. So I'll continue to shop and dream a little bit, at least for now. But it's
But you also don't have to have like, if you're only using the truck for yourself, you don't need to have 19 bins.
correct. Yeah, we could have 2 or 3 or whatever. And my father-in-law is coming up on retirement. Gonna try and he's got a D license to drive a big truck for some reason. So
It's not that hard to get a Z endorsement. So I think it's
it's a weekend thing.
Yeah, it's a weekend thing.
You know, that's how I got mine. It was a weekend thing. I try and convince him to come and work with us. And if we could take the liability of having a whole bunch of little dump trucks off the road, I think we'd be in better shape. It would definitely save the guys from running 3 yards of gravel at a time, 2 hours away.
But don't the guys drive those trucks to site anyways?
Yeah, they have to have them to site, and they're great for like little cleanups and hauling tools and all that stuff. Like, regardless, we'll still have little dumps, but I don't think they always need to be on the road hauling little amounts of material.
I see what you're saying.
Right? Like I'll have dump trucks over pickup trucks any day, like little 5-ton dump trucks or whatever. But I don't want them out running 2 yards from the quarry or something. Oh, we need a little bit more. Put it in the bin, get everything dropped off at the beginning of the job. You have everything there so that the workers can work and the drivers can drive. And then do deliveries on the side and pick up other materials that they need to. But
yeah, so we usually we do that. Like, we have drivers and we have field staff. That's how I describe them, right?
Yeah. And that's the model that I want to shift towards.
So I've when we hired our one bin truck driver Ross, he does a great job of servicing the crews and keeping materials flowing and keeping job sites flowing. But previous to that, I was the other bin truck driver who was supposed to be doing that, and I was doing a really shitty job of doing that because I was also doing a shitty job at 7 other things as well. So, um, I think that it's a good model. Like it's a good model.
Yeah. Right now, I'm floating equipment and bringing material and checking up on jobs. Like, I don't know what my job title is, but if I can delegate some tasks or have more guys doing more efficient things, I think that's the next step. So,
Well, I think having a driver is a good idea. Like when I ran Ridge Lake, we had that's what Christy's job was, right? She was the dedicated driver. She floated all the equipment, she picked up all the materials, she did all that stuff. That's all she did. That was her only job, was driving. And at first, when we hired her, I thought, are we really going to fill her time every day doing this? But then quickly, you do fill her time every. We did fill her time every day doing it. Like
yeah.
she had stuff to do every single day. Like
How many crews did you guys have?
3, A crew, B crew, C crew.
Did they get offended when you call them A crew, B crew, and C crew? Like I was,
Well, I ran C crew, so
were you
I would have
offended?
been. No, I created it. It's good that everyone knows their place.
Yeah, I was thinking of color coding the crews. Then they could have all their colored tools and stuff,
Mm.
you know?
So we used to have a group text, and all the different crews were named after the different sects in India or whatever it is, whatever they call
Oh
it.
yeah,
So
the classes or whatever they are.
yeah, the class system in India, they has 3 classes, and so I named each crew one of the classes. So
Hmm.
I always ran the third, whatever the third class crew was. I was name of it was. That's what I always ran. I was C crew for life, man.
Was C crew the only residential crew?
No, B crew was the residential crew. A crew was the commercial crew, and C crew was the people who couldn't survive on either of those crews. And Mike, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't survive on either of the other 2 crews either. So I guess all of us were not surviving together on that crew. And that crew mostly did a lot of like hourly work for developers.
Hmm.
That was their focus. The focus of their energies was hourly work for developers. Very profitable crew. Great crew.
Hey, a drop in the
Pick,
bucket, still a drop
pick,
in the bucket.
picked up a lot of garbage. No, it was a great crew. I'm telling you, it was the most profitable crew.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. Fucking just literally like 6, 8, 10 months at a time, roaming through forests, picking up garbage. 5 people a day, 2 dump trucks, excavator, 2 skid steers, all by the hour. It's like 7, 8,000 a day every
But the
day.
pressure, yeah, the pressure is off on C crew, right?
Oh, free crew had no pressure.
You just do what you can and
You
nothing more.
just picking up garbage, straightening stop signs.
Straight to the stop sign.
That's one of the things we did. We straightened the stop signs after people hit them.
Our my partner's fencing crew is on the same city job that we're on right now. They're building a new city compound in town and they're putting up the fence. Obviously, they're the fencing crew. Um, and the GC goes, put your holes right here. So they start to auger the hole, and the first hole goes in, and the auger is spinning. And then the auger pulls up an electrical wire.
Oh, I thought you were going to say fiber optic or something.
No, but not just one electrical wire. They pulled the electric wire out of the street light down the road.
Oh my god.
And it was all wrapped around the auger. So
Yikes.
they had a fun day digging that up today. But
Did
whose
they
fault is that? Right?
Well, if you digging without locates, it's your fault.
Well, I
Like,
wasn't.
no, I'm just saying, like, if you're digging without locates and you dig something up, it's your fault. No
Yeah.
matter who told you where to dig.
The GC is like, oh, I didn't think it was there. Well,
It's
famous
there.
last words.
It was. That's yeah. It's hard. It's a hard call when someone wants you to.
Yeah. So that was some exploratory digging. They just moved the holes over.
It was exploratory digging.
Yeah. 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 So I got a ton of work to do and not a lot of time to do it.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah. It's I have probably 4 streets that are topsoil and ready for sod, and I'm gonna miss the payment cutoff, which
Mm.
is this Friday for the month. So I'm gonna wait another month for payment on all those.
Can't you? Can't like most of our clients let us invoice whatever we're going to finish by the end of the month.
We're not gonna finish it by the end of the month. All the topsoil is down, but there's no way we're getting it sodded. We don't even have a water truck. It's being painted and it's still full of diesel fuel.
When you just hire a water truck,
Nobody can water sod like we can water sod.
why? How much sod water does this sod need in October?
Not a lot, but the first time you have to flood it regardless, right? Like you can do a half-ass job every other time, but the first time still has to be good. And there's no one willing to get like no for hire company willing to get out of the truck and stand there and flood the sod. We're the only
What
ones.
about the old water truck?
It's got oil in the coolant,
Mm.
so I could risk it, or
Couldn't you put a tank in one of the 1 tons?
it's 4,000 meters at a time of sod.
Yeah. Well, they like driving back and forth.
Yeah, they do a hell of a lot of driving back and forth. And my pond is empty. It hasn't rained in a month here. Well, not enough to fill a pond. Like my reservoir is just empty. We have to buy water like suckers from the city.
How much is water?
$5 a cube. Which I mean, no big deal. We spend a couple $100 watering max. But I'm used to getting it free now. I don't want to go back to paid water. Plus,
Isn't it?
it's not the problem of paying for the water. It's the hookup that you need to get the water, right?
Mm.
You have to marry your system to the city's system so that you can fill your tank or whatever. And we have everything disassembled, waiting on the new water truck.
Do you think you should have just cleaned out the tank and put the water truck on the road with the blue and yellow,
With
just
the
so you
blue-
could, and then just painted it in the winter?
No, we're waiting on a part to fill it. Like it's got all these chambers to fill it, but it was a 5-inch fill receptor or whatever. Like it was a 5-inch cam lock, and we can't find a reducer from a 5 to a 3.
Mm.
So they had to change the whole, I don't know the proper terms for this stuff. I sent someone else who wasn't me to get the parts. Yeah, they should be in soon. Not in soon.
So all of this is stopping you from invoicing.
All this is stopping me from invoicing. We have, I'd say probably $200,000 to $300,000 in sod ready to go, but not this month. So we're just working at other stuff. Got some patios to put in.
Isn't the person who, like, the general, like, saying, lay this sod, buddy? Like,
No, it's the city of Cornwall, and they only have one inspector right now because all the others quit or moved departments. And we're also doing their city compound, so there's some leniency. So
do the compound, get leniency.
do the compound, yeah. What's the priority for you? I don't know. But we have to do this walkway before they can have occupancy, which happens Thursday. And I had to get new pads for the the Unilift. I made a video about it. It's on YouTube. Check
Oh,
it out.
I saw the
Um,
notification. I need to check it out.
yeah, yeah. So getting pads for this Unilift is like pulling teeth. Nobody knows where to get them or who has them or where they can get them from. And when you do find someone who can get them, they don't want to ship them to you. They want to ship them to them and have you pick them up. So I drove an hour and a half to the west end of Ottawa to get these pads. $500 for two little pads, by the way. I think that's a bit excessive. Um,
They're a
but
specialty item.
yeah, but so is the whole fucking contraption, right? Like, there's got to be a better way
I feel
here.
like you're having Unilift regret.
Uh, the guys like it, but like I picked the thing up yesterday and brought it to site, and it's all full of dust, and the old pads are pooched, and there's like this tar leaking off it because they did a hose repair with like a blue skin, and it sat in the dome all summer and leaked everywhere. So it's in a hell of a state, and I forgot how to set the thing up, and so we were fighting with it the whole time, and it's a really cumbersome machine that the snuffleupagus, the big hose on the thing is like always in the way.
I think we're getting a sponsorship from Unilift.
I don't think we were before. And I can't even buy Unilock in my town, so what do I care?
Yeah,
Um, the guys like it better than laying by hand, so I mean there's that, but I was putting more time into it than I wanted to when I should have delegated the task. But there was only one of them on site because Josh had to get some teeth pulled or something today. So
He'll be in tomorrow for sure.
he'll be in. No, he got the antibiotics and the teeth come out next week or something. But poor guy.
Sounds promising for the day after.
Oh, Josh, he'll work. He'll work. Now that he's got those antibiotics, he'll be back. He's a great worker.
he takes antibiotics before the teeth come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Because whenever you're sore, whenever you have the toothache, that's the infection, right? And they can't pull it while the tooth is infected. They put you on the antibiotics, and then the next week they pull it. He's been through this at least once, probably twice before. So I don't know if he's gonna have any teeth left. Poor guy. Give him some mashed potatoes at the Christmas party. Uh, but anyway, that's how my time back has been dealing with this Unilift thing.
Is there an NDL Christmas party each year?
I think we're gonna have one this year.
This is the first year?
No, we used to have them. Then the guys didn't get along, and some of them still don't get along. But there's enough of them now. I think we're gonna just mix my guys and my partner's guys again, and then there'll be 20 of them. So I don't care. Like it's if there's a fight between two or three guys in 10, I mean that's 30% of people fighting. That's a lot. But 30% of 20 people fighting. No, wait. 3 people out of 20 is less. So that's
15%.
fighting. I think the threshold for fighting at a Christmas party is 15%. Is what I've come up with. Then I can walk away. And
The threshold of Christmas party fighting is 15. You heard that? You don't get that kind of information at the Mulder Life podcast or the Kid Contractor podcast. You don't get a ratio of people the acceptable ratio of Christmas party fighting. And Chad has worked through it. How long have you been landscaping? 20 years?
yeah, I'm 37. I started when I was 17. Yeah.
So 20 years Chad's been landscaping, and he has determined that the proper Christmas party ratio is around 15%.
No more than 15%.
No more than, it's preferably less. You want to ride around 10% fight ratio, but you can go as high as a 15% fight ratio at your Christmas party and it'll still be successful.
At the low end, someone's wife or girlfriend is going to be mad at them at the Christmas party. At the high end, it's full out brawl, right? So
I've been to a Christmas party that ended in a brawl in the parking lot.
Really?
Nice.
Oh yeah, I wasn't involved.
Was that the
I was-
Conperm one?
No,
Okay.
it was not that one. No. When we worked at Ridge Lake, there was two other companies. There was a vacuum truck company, and then there was an excavating and sewer and water main company that were all owned. Those two were owned by the 50% owner of, or 51% owner, or whatever it was, of Ridge Lake. So the vacuum truck guys got into like an all out, like full blown fist fight at the Christmas party.
With each other?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Do you figure because they're so close to each other every day in the truck?
No, I think, if I remember correctly, now mind you, I
Or no?
wasn't involved in this fight, and it was probably 15 years ago. So, if some vacuum truck guy is listening from back then, and I'm not telling the story accurately, I'm sorry. But I think what caused the fight is when the trucks all went into the shop every night, like they weren't parked outdoors, and if you don't lower the boom on your truck to the ground, it's sitting at like head height.
Hmm.
And so one guy wasn't lowering his truck and people were bashing their heads off it because the shop had like probably 7 vacuum trucks in it, all stuffed together. So they're tight, right? They're really close. So people bashed their head, and then there was blood, and then there was, you know, at the
Wow.
Christmas party in a drunken stupor, it came up, and someone stole someone else's cigarettes out of the truck. And, it just grew from there into a brawling fist fight.
Huh. Who would have thought?
That's what I remember. I think I just heard about the aftermath of the brawling fist fight, though. But they also used to always have a backhoe with the front loader bucket full of beer.
Oh.
So, I think that also added to part of the problem. Where are you going to have the NDL Christmas party?
I don't know. We'll get a hall or something. I don't know. I don't really want to do it at the shop. I don't want to be responsible. Maybe I'll take them out to dinner. I don't know. I don't love the idea of us all sitting at a table together. I can't see that going well for us. But I think if you can get up and mingle and stuff with other people, then you can get away and cool off, I think.
Do you feel a responsibility to have this party?
Um, no. I like I
What
could
do you-
just as
what
easily not have it. I don't give a shit, you know. If the guys would rather not have it, that's fine too.
do you think if you gave them a choice between, like, say you figured you were going to invest $300 a person to have a party, does that seem like a fair investment?
Yeah. I think that's a bit much, but sure.
You think it well, but you're going to rent a hall,
Yeah.
got to
But by
buy food and
splitting the
booze.
cost with my partner, I think we can get it down a little bit. I
Okay,
don't
so I'm just whatever. So I'm saying, do you think that the
maybe
guy?
it's reasonable. Maybe it is $300. Maybe I'm out of touch.
I don't. Maybe I don't know. I'm just like, but you got to rent a hall. You got to, like. Do you have any idea how much this stuff costs, Mike?
No idea. You think I
So
take out my
You take your guys out, Mike?
what do you
guys?
spend on the company Christmas party, Mike?
What's the ratio of fights at your
What's the fight ratio at your Christmas party? Are you going to allow these people to bring significant others to the Christmas party, Chad?
Yeah.
Then it'll
So now
definitely
you're
be
really
300.
talking about 40
Okay.
people.
So yeah, if I'm if
Do
they're
their
bringing
wives get
significant
along,
others,
or do
$300.
we need?
Well, right.
Do their wives get along, or do we have to, or can we play them off the ratio? Because when you add 20 significant others, the ratio actually goes down to 7.5.
Or if you add the significant others, does that
Well, do the
increase the
significant others want
percentage?
to? Do the significant
think-
others want to fight with the other person's significant others? Because that keeps the same
Ooh.
percentage.
I think women who are married to landscapers tend to ground them a lot of the time
Oh, I'd agree with that.
because we're sometimes Jesus, there's something going on back there. My water purification system is having a shit or something.
We can't even hear it.
Oh no?
No.
I can't hear. You
Um
got a great microphone.
Yeah.
I do. That's the blue snowball. Blue ice ball. Snowball ice.
At least it
Anyway.
only takes you one computer to run this podcast. Multiple computers to keep this shit going. Heaven forbid buying one good computer, Mike. Mike me, not Mike you.
I don't.
Do you have a anyways, sorry, Chad. You feel like these
I think.
women or significant others,
Yeah.
genderless significant others, I agree with you. I think that having the wives there could, or the significant others could definitely, that might take a couple percentages off the fight factor.
Yeah.
So if you're at 15% and you throw in significant others, maybe you get down to like 13.7 on the fighting factor. These are all valid concerns too. I've run this down in my head too. So don't think that you're the only one who's.
It's
So I've spent some time running this down.
We did a Christmas party where we gave out drink tickets, right? So you'd give each guy
I like where this is going.
3 drinks or whatever, and after that they were on their own. But I wonder how much the fighting goes up in relation to how many drink tickets you give out. So
I think if you give out 3 drink tickets and bring significant others, you're just back to a straight 15%.
it's they cancel themselves out.
Yeah.
There should be one of the software companies should come up with something.
I'm sure that graph hockey sticks. Like it's not a straight line going up. I'm sure like 4 drinks, 5 drinks, that thing just goes up like a hockey stick. Oh yeah.
Have you thought about doing an activity for the Christmas party?
Oh,
like saying, let's all go do paintball.
No, never. No weapon.
What about axe throwing?
Yeah, that's a fucking great idea. Drink tickets and axe throwing.
We went to axe throwing when I worked at
you'd have a Dateline episode there.
Confirm. This is a legitimate question, Chad. What about the HNA experience suddenly inspired you to suddenly make thousands of Instagram posts and start YouTubing again? What drove that desire? Because obviously you even mentioned it in one of your posts that being there. So what about that environment caused you to want to all of a sudden get on the camera more? Like what was the experience?
I've held on to this little glimmer of fame, as minuscule as it is. I've decided that for the time being, I'm going to run with it. And that time is probably 15 minutes, but for now, I'm going to run with it. I'm going to see what I can.
You're saying the people recognizing you at HNA.
Yeah.
And saying that's the landscape daddy.
Yeah. Yeah, all it takes is one, right? Everybody starts.
Fair enough. I think that's a very valid reason. Absolutely. I was just wondering what if it was being in that hub of landscape activity that made you want to.
It definitely didn't hurt. Definitely didn't hurt. It's
how well do you guys think the Not Our Finest Hour brand carried at HNA?
It was meant to be asked, but we had some heavy hitting fans there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Loyal followers.
Loyalty's everything. So I went to a site meeting today. I don't know if you guys saw my Instagram stories about it.
Oh yeah.
It was fun. So this client, normally everything's private tender. So, like maybe 2 other people are coming, and they're usually serious contractors who are, good contractors. And so that's, they invited me specifically, sent me an invite to the meeting. But when I got there and I saw the, the guy who was doing compaction testing last week driving some paving company's fucking beat up Ford Ranger, I was like, oh, I guess this is on the public tender site. Great. If I'd known that, I would have politely declined the invite. So essentially I think there was 20 people.
Wow.
20 people there. And at least 5 of them were unable to speak English clearly, and were
What is your contract?
temporary foreign workers that were being sent by because they just need someone to put a name down and write the company name. Like, they don't care what's going on at the meeting, right? So they have these compaction testing guys that have graduated to being the guy that drives the shitbox Ford Ranger around, that doesn't speak English or understand a word of what's going on at the meeting, but can sign the company name. So there was, I think, 4 of those guys at the meeting, maybe 5. And then there was a bunch of, so there's 4 or 5 of those guys, which in the video I had predicted would be there. And then I also predicted there'd be some like big pickup Rolex wearing guys. So those were all like the paving company guys, like legit big paving companies where the actual paving people showed up, like the owners. They all had big Rolexes and stupid trucks. And then there was a subsection, because it's a public tender, of people, like there was the people beside me in the parking lot were driving a 25-year-old Dodge Dakota with no sides on it, and they're here and so this is a parking lot job. Rip up the parking lot, repave it, paint the lines, right? So we actually priced this in the spring. I guess we did the budget price for them before they decided to actually tender this work. They asked us for a budget price maybe, or they asked us to price it. So the job, when we priced it, the way it was described and the way we did it, was worth about $475,000. Of the $475,000, $2,800 of it is the line painting. The whole meeting, this guy who introduced himself as Ed from Bob's Handyman Service, because it's a public thing, right? Anyone can show up. So Ed from Bob's Handyman Service had a big clipboard and was like taking insanely in-depth notes about how the handicap parking spots were going to move and where they wanted them painted. And it was just like dragging the whole meeting down. This guy's in. So we need lines here. I felt like pulling the guy to the side and choking him and saying, bro, this is a $500,000 contract and $2,800 of it is the line painting. Who gives a fuck? Put it in as a $3,000 day rate. Anyone who paints lines will paint this whole parking lot in a fucking day. Who fucking cares about this item? This is not going to make, you know what you should care about? Are we ripping up the asphalt? Are we regrinding the asphalt? Are we hauling it away? What's the thickness? What's the makeup of the asphalt? Because none of that stuff was available online in the tender package. There's not even dimensions for the fucking parking lot in the tender package. So there's, like, I'm looking around after the meeting and there's 15 guys with wheels running around the parking lot. Like, what the fuck are we tendering here? Everyone's making up their own $400,000 parking lot. This is fucked up. I am not pricing this.
So you got Jack with his Mosher to go and fucking
No, I already wheeled the parking lot in the spring. I just did it by myself. I fucking called Jack and said, just resubmit the fucking price from the spring. We already did it, and everyone else is doing the same thing, and there's no fucking drawings. No grade drawings
from Bob's Handyman Service for painting the line.
No, he was worried, very worried, that the line painting was going to make or break this contract. I'm like, did you have any idea what we're doing here? Who gives a fuck about? The other thing they were focused on was you have to move 2 stop signs. These are like those stop signs you pound in the ground with a post pounder. So you got to chain them up, pull them out, take the sign off, and pound the post in like across the parking lot. The guy was asking 10 minutes worth of questions about it. I'm like, again, dude, this is a $500. I probably won't even charge for this. Why are we talking about this bullshit? There's no spec either. So you like, I don't know. Are we putting a footing? Are we not putting a footing? Are we just pounding it in? And then they said, email all your questions to the procurement officer. I said, okay, cool. And then he'll email back the entire group. Except on the sign-in sheet, it never asked you for your fucking email. So what, is he just going to send carrier pigeons out when people ask questions? There's no fucking, you never asked. Normally those sign-in sheets, I don't know if you've done them, Chad. You put like,
I haven't done.
you've
don't
never
go to public bids. It's a great way to waste your time, I think.
Well, you've never been, like, we have mandatory meetings for clients where they're private tenders.
Yeah, I don't go. Someone else will go, like my partner will go, or I haven't been to. I've been to a couple of them.
Yeah. So I wouldn't attend a public meeting, but I was like emailed last night and specifically invited to this. And we're all standing around, and I'm literally looking at all these people saying, okay, which one of you idiots is going to lose the most money paving this parking lot? Which one of you is going to invest the most money in this parking lot?
Have you ever went to those things and thought, hey, I'd like to team up with this guy and tackle this job? You ever made a partner out a job like that? No?
No, never. I went to a private tender mandatory meeting in the summer or in the spring with Jack, and there was only two of us showed up. And I said to the guy, why don't you do this paving part and we'll do the excavating part? But he wasn't down for it. And then neither of us got the job. And the person that got the job wasn't even at the mandatory meeting. So it shows you how fucking mandatory the meeting was. Because the guy didn't even fucking show up like at the meeting. Because then the guy posted paving the parking lot all over his fucking Instagram. I'm like, you weren't at the meeting. I know, because I was. Stupid fucking meeting. This is such mandatory meetings in today's world are a waste of time. Because everyone can just email their questions. 30 years ago, when you went to a mandatory meeting, there was no exchange of, like, there was no emails. There was no exchange of questions. You had to ask your questions then, or you were fucked. You were just bidding blind. Yeah. But now you can email this guy, and then he'll email to the group because everyone signed in on the page without their fucking email. So what's he emailing? What are you talking about? There's not going to be any emails to the. So this was the best part of this. So this meeting has been going on for 40 minutes about the line painting and the sign moving and all this other bullshit. And at one point, one of the asphalt guys says, when do you think you're going to close this tender? Because this is like the end of October. They're tending asphalting a parking lot. And so the representative says, we're going to have it closed by November 14th. We hope. Ooh. And then it'll take a few days to award it. And he says, okay, well,
asphalt cut off.
What if it's cut off? Like, what if the plants are closed? And the representative said, well, it has to be done this year. He says, okay, well, what if that's not possible? He said, well, then we're going to retender it in April. So literally half the people walked to their trucks because they were like only bidding the job to get it for the spring. So then after that statement, it was me and 6 people who don't speak English standing there because they didn't understand what was happening.
You didn't understand what it meant.
When
where they're from, it doesn't get cold enough to close the asphalt plants.
It doesn't. So like after everyone left, then I was looking around going, maybe this is worth putting a number on and seeing if we can squeeze it in somehow, because all these other people have left because they only wanted the job for the spring. And these people don't even understand what's going on. There was the 5 temporary foreign workers, and there was Bob's handyman service and me. After that, I was like, oh, well, I don't think Bob's probably really working hard on this price. Go Bob.
You should have said, you know what? I'll save you guys a trip. Don't send this pretender. I'll move those 2 stop signs for free, and we'll make a deal right now.
I'll move the stop signs for free. I know a fuck ton about where we're painting the handicap parking spots.
Yeah.
That's what's important. Handicap parking spots.
Yeah.
I just wild. It's like there's 2 hours of my time I'll never get back. So we had an interesting situation